stuff to talk about today, as always, as per usual. Today, we're going to focus on a continuation of our last conversation. JJ, Daphne, and I were talking about projects that were going on in Austin, and we kept running into, oh yeah, and there was this, oh yeah, there was this. So projects like the Domain, Mueller, Leander Springs. And so we just wanted to dive into a few more of those and give you insights on things that we've seen coming up. And if you have anything coming up, please share with us, because this is all great stuff. People need to understand why Elon and others had called this a boom town and why companies are moving here and or leaving. So JJ, Daphne, how y'all feeling?
Feeling good. It's Tuesday. Sun's out. Yep.
I couldn't say the second half. I was like, yeah. I mean,
too strong.
Sure, guns out is what it is. Sun's out, guns out. Okay.
Arms, guns.
Yes, right.
There you go.
So, JJ, do you want to start talking about that? Oh, you know what? Before we start talking about anything, did you hear that Austin has Franklin Barbecue is collaborating for 2 days with Buddy's Burgers. And so for August 29th and August 30th, from August 29th to September 1st, sorry, so for 3 days, to September 1st, you can go to Buddy's Burgers and get Franklin's Barbecue Burger. I know, that face, yes, that's how I felt. I was like, Cupid hit me in the heart. That sounds awesome. I don't know if you've been to Buddy's Burgers, but that's one of my favorite burgers in the Austin area. It is not healthy. This is not a healthy burger, but it's
no, delicious. We're not advocates for health. Where is
right,
this
right.
location?
The bag is greasy. It's
Where's Buddy's? I don't even know where Buddy's Burgers is.
I'm going to say by Parmer 183-ish.
Okay.
Let's just say that. I don't have multiple locations. I know they have the Buddy's Burgers, then they have the restaurant, and I could be way off on the area. I drive by there frequently. In fact, I was there driving by there earlier, but I didn't hear about the collab until after I had passed. It's not open, not until the 29th. So if you're willing to stand in line at Buddy's Burgers at 2 a.m, I'm sure it'll be a treat. Listen, this is an experience, and this type of thing doesn't happen. We got to get back to our Austin roots. It's kind of what we were talking about before. Everybody used to love Franklin's.
Can I give a little tiny plug for also another barbecue whilst I think about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is kind of going off on a tangent, so I'm going to aim to keep it concise. Do you guys ever watch Barbecue Cook-Off on Netflix?
No, but I need to.
It's a really good show. Basically what they do is they get master barbecuers, is what they're called. I don't know. Some of the best in
pitmasters.
Yes, pitmasters. Yeah. They get the best in the world, in the country, and then I don't know. I want to say they get like 8 of them together, and then they cook and make their barbecue, and eventually they get eliminated as they go. And the challenges are super interesting. This last season, they had one guy. What was his name? I can't remember his name. But he is Egyptian, and he has a Egyptian fusion barbecue food truck in Austin. It's called KG Barbecue. Gosh, what was his name?
It's in Round Rock, right?
Actually, it's on Manor Road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I think I've been to it. Unless he opened or moved.
Yeah, no, I mean, he could have a couple.
Which is like central East Austin.
Yeah.
That Manor Road.
Yeah, it's definitely east.
Kind of like Mueller, right?
Yeah, it's 78723. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought that was super cool. It's a really good show, and he did really, really well. And we were very excited about it. So as soon as I'm back in Austin, I think we want to go try this out. That's all I'll say. Okay, back to real estate.
I love it.
Okay.
Now I gotta go.
To tie it all together, regarding real estate, do you expect this is a population growth thing and demand thing? Do these places have long lines? These restaurants?
Oh, that's tough, because we've experienced this thing that, caused a lot of businesses to shut down.
Right.
Over the last couple of years.
The 2020 thing.
That's a really good question, yeah. But also a lot of people relocated here specifically to work and to move to make more money because they felt like they could work remote, and then they had to bounce.
Yeah. Or
or property
taxes went way up.
I almost feel like people that are, I almost feel like it's kind of going to go back to what 2019 and prior was as far as the growth arc.
You think it's going to be less crowded at the like central Austin restaurants? Or are you just talking about population growth in general?
I was talking about population growth in general, but how it impacts local businesses.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
I'll be curious to see.
Yeah. It seems like, and I don't know for sure, but it seems like a lot of the local businesses that have been closing, a lot of the time they have been leaving because they can't afford the rent. Like that seems to be kind of one of the consistent things. It's not so much that there isn't enough business, but it's like they can't charge enough to keep up with the rent. And then the really big businesses that are coming in and just plowing them down.
Yeah, but there's a lot of vacancy in commercial buildings. So I don't actually think the rent is going to stay what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. I think that'll be suppressed a little bit, just like housing went through. Right. So once the rent comes down a little bit, the vacancy starts depleting and there's more occupants. However they do that, then it'll be easier, especially right now. If somebody wanted to start a business right now, there are probably more opportunities for them to do that and negotiate rent. Like this KG barbecue. And if they can get that locked in for a few years, that could be really good for them.
And one thing I noticed, because I lived downtown for like 12 years, for example, like a nightclub owner, they used to pay X amount of rent a month, but there's this apartment building that's going to be built like a Hotel Zaza or something, right?
Okay.
Let me bring it way back. I think the club was called like an Element on 4th and Guadalupe. I forget. These were venues, nightclubs. And then a Hotel Zaza, which is also like a Gables apartment building, right? That was like a mixed use with some retail on the base. As it was developing, the landlords around those blocks would charge higher rent to see who would stick around and try to feed off of that. And some of those nightclubs would just leave because they weren't wanting to hold that space. And it's interesting now because what you're talking about, that yeah, like are there people coming out of the office buildings that are going to be finishing building?
Well, we don't have a crystal ball. I think watching data worked when things were normalized. And right now we've been abnormal for a little bit, especially in Austin. If you wanted to do cycles, you'd have to, again, go back to like migratory patterns of people and all that. But just the way tech, transportation, remote work, and all those things have come into play, it just is not the same historical migration patterns that we've seen across other places in the United States. That I can tell. Anyway, let's talk about some of these projects. So, what was the one you wanted to bring up? The big building on 6th.
Yeah. So this is an actual example. Let me do a screen share of the screen here. So the building is called Residences at 6G.
Residences, okay.
Residences at 6G. But the building started off, this is funny because this is also ending 2023, a Washington Post article says Austin's office market is exploding, but no one is moving in. And what they're referring to these are a few towers. This is 6G or 6 in Guadalupe. It's called 6G because it's 6 in Guadalupe. Not to be confused with, is that like some type of connection to?
Like G6?
6. It's on West 6. And it's a really cool spot because it's on the edge of West 6 and it's kind of like closer to E6 because it's on that eastern edge of West 6, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So this was also popular because this was the building that this bottom part is office, and that's where Meta was supposed to lease, and then they left it up to sublease, and I'm not really sure exactly what's going on with the commercial space there. And I think there's a lot of commercial space that's kind of up for grabs. I've heard some people say there's an office space recession I don't do a whole lot of commercial, if
Yeah.
not any, but I pay attention to this stuff because this has to do with employment, which essentially has to do with residential. But then the top part I'm more familiar with because when I've repped landlord condominium lease listings, and this top part's residential. So there's like really cool. I mean, look at this. So that's West 6 here,
Awesome.
That actually looks
Lamar.
great. Looks like it
Yeah,
could be a really cool spot.
super luxury residential in the top half of the building.
Well, so let's think about the intent. I actually like the conversation around the intent of something like this. The people that are working for the company that leases it could also live right above and not have to go anywhere and have housing. The company could pay for the housing in some instances. So I could see that being populated really quickly, but that's going to be contingent upon the success of the company. And so if it's a company like Meta and they bounced, they abandoned the project, now what company is going to go in there? So we know that X, formerly Twitter, is going to be moving here still. And then, so basically all of Elon's companies are going to be moving here. So that's one.
I don't think he'd go downtown though, right? Like he has his own real estate. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is prime territory. This is downtown. Right? It's not like he has a place out on, far east, right? Out in Del Valley. Like
Also
that one. And then there's some in Cedar Park and some other, there's smaller places. But if you want, like you got to think of who would be moving there for what company. So you're talking, people that are paid to be developers and engineers.
Quick question for JJ. Are these apartments or are these condos?
Apartments. You can see they're all for lease. So two bedroom, 2 bath, 35th floor. Can't tell which way it faces. It also has a really cool trapezoid shape. But the 2 bed, 2 bath at almost 1,500 square feet is a little over $5,000 a month.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, you're not going anywhere. You work. You take the elevator down to work, right? And you want food.
Companies
take
there.
it down
Like you think these companies are actually going to move in with the remote work?
Yeah. I think that's the thing that makes the most sense. Interesting. Okay, so I mean, at least it was the building's been finished. I think that's important, and now we just have to kind of keep an eye on who's going to be moving in. What are some great things that are right around that area? Like food and things to do. There's a lot of stuff around there, right?
Yeah, there's a neighborhood link here. Yeah, that's right. And I think it has one of those, I can't keep up with the height of.
Yeah.
Is it the tallest building in Austin? I think it is.
It is the tallest building in Austin.
Oh, there is another, I think the other water.
Yeah, but didn't that one get scrapped?
I think it's being built.
Okay.
And I think it's also release.
I mean, this is a good share. This is a good one. So I would say if that this is also going back to apartments, leasing versus purchasing. But if somebody's looking to live downtown, that's a little bit of a price to pay considering all the other options available in Austin that you could buy. However, you would be right in the heart of downtown, right next to the library, a lot of wonderful restaurants, overlooking the water, and there's a probability that there will be a nice office space in there as well.
JJ, feel free to share thoughts on this, but I feel like a lot of the clients that I have had that want to be downtown because I want to be close to a party. It's a lot of times it's like young fellows from California or New York. Sometimes they're single, sometimes they have a girlfriend or maybe just married, and they just want to be close to things to do and like fun. I've had a couple clients that have gotten places downtown that still work like for Apple, and they'll go in, they'll have like a hybrid remote and in office position, but they really want to be close to all the action.
Are you hearing people that are being forced to go back more than just hybrid, like go back full time? Are you hearing that?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that'll change the landscape of the
Yeah.
city and where people decide to move.
Yeah, I guess like
you're correct though regarding the demographic. I say it's pre-kids, post-kids, or no kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where fits into that, and some kids.
Isn't that everybody? Didn't you just say everybody?
Almost. Because if you have a kid and you're taking care of them, that's like 18 years per kid. If you have a kid or 2 or 3 or more, you're out the game for a couple decades.
Well, right, but then it's no kids, and then you're back.
Then you're back. Yes.
Yeah.
And the last study I read regarding commuting, majority actually don't necessarily work downtown. They do drive outwards, interestingly enough. But there's also like the mixed remote work thing too.
Yeah, no, actually that's super interesting. Yeah, because I had recently 2 clients blatantly say, I want to be where the parties are. I want to be able to stumble back to my apartment at night. And like, or their condo. Like that was verbatim what basically each party said.
Yeah, and I think if you're older, it's more about like socializing, like finding that walking crew that goes to the coffee shop on Sundays. I think if you're more youthful, you could do things like stay out late. And I think the percentage was maybe 60 to 70 don't work downtown.
Oh wow, that's a lot. That's a large percentage.
It's a big chunk.
If you're watching this and you live downtown, I'm curious if you work downtown. Let us know in the comments. I'd like to share the next one, unless Daphne, you have one.
Oh, go for it.
Let's see. So this one I think is super interesting because you see the construction, or I saw when it was being torn down. And do you remember seeing this?
Oh, the Frank Irwin Center.
Constructed.
It looks so funny now, like architecturally, just kind of everything's so geometrically sharp.
70s, no?
What was that?
It looks like it was built in the 60s or 70s, no?
Oh, it looks like that, yeah. So to make room for a new hospital, MD Anderson Cancer Center partnership with Houston, and they talk about that in here. But what that does is you got to think, how does that affect college age people and people that have to come here from around the world to get the best treatment? Right? And while it's a horrible thing to have to think that somebody might need to travel and uproot their life for this disease, it's still incredible that they have a place that they can come. And most people, again, love or money, they're gonna do it. They're gonna relocate. They're not just gonna fly back and forth for 2 years. In a lot of cases, they're just gonna relocate if they're able. 2.5 billion injected into this new hospital. Wow. UT Austin. Oh, I lost where to go. Like flew down. UT Austin Specialty University Hospital. So it's another, again, educational injection, which will spill over to people relocating here. That's and really they called it the Innovation District. I don't know if I've heard that term before. You heard that term?
No, I like it.
Well, it's a great term. Yeah. Dell Medical Center Innovation District. I want to click it.
I think that's really interesting. I didn't actually know that they were going to put MD Anderson there. I listen to a lot of like health podcasts and fitness stuff, and I recently heard a statistic that 40% of all people are affected by cancer in some capacity.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess the fact that
reality. That's a sad reality.
It is. And I mean, I think they're taking into account things like a mole that could, have a little bit of melanoma and then they take it out and you're fine. Yeah. Something minor. But all that to say, right, it's like Houston, MD Anderson has been around forever and they're world renowned for their cancer treatment. So I guess they have enough patients that need treatment that they want to bring them to Austin.
Yeah, economically, I feel better about regarding economic stability. The because Austin was this college town and government town. So as long as the educational piece of it, and there's plenty of growth for the medical division. I was a pre-nursing dropout at UT, so I know how Red River had the school of nursing there and how they're extending it so that the whole Michael Dell, contribution was awesome. And I think if you keep building around the university, there's more. It's interesting because there's more job stability, but I also see these people living in like Kyle and Leander and commuting in. But whatever, like
Well,
the jobs are
I
there.
think that's only due to the cost of living downtown,
Right.
Yeah.
but I think that will adjust. Like we've seen some adjustments so far.
Yeah.
So you got the office buildings with the tech people, like you're talking about.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. So you've got the office buildings that people can lease out, right? And then you have a lot of other houses that are, the prices are normalizing is one way to say it. And then you still have a lot of office buildings that might become residential. That's still a part of the conversation.
You think that's going to happen?
They did.
I think it should.
When would they convert?
I've talked to some developers and kind of made a comment about that, and the response is often like, "No way, that's too expensive." I'm curious though, like if
most people say no way to everything. Like that is the default state that so many people say no, because it's too hard or too much. But I think someone creative with the resources to do so can make that type of thing happen.
It'll take a minute. I mean, even 6G used to be I think it used to be a older, like one of those older 1900s corner, maybe like mid-rise building. That was kind of, I saw something about it, but there's been some interesting, unique deals where some of these things, it takes time though. It's definitely a big deal, right? Like hundreds of millions to get that lot, tear down a building.
Yeah, this is interesting. I feel like, this corridor. So obviously this is 35. This corridor has always been big.
Yeah.
And I see businesses focusing on, like, if they can afford to, the businesses staying and focusing on this area.
This is a little bit of job growth, but are you familiar with the NIL deal with student athletes?
I'm not. Enlighten us.
So
what'd you say?
NIL for student athletes. Are you familiar with the NIL contract?
No.
So in the past few years, the NCAA wouldn't pay student athletes because they felt like they could get paid off a scholarship and go to school for free. But the reality of it is they're selling jerseys. I mean, they're almost like little professional football players or whatever player, right? There's jerseys being sold, there's merchandise, there's ticket sales. So in the past few years, student athletes could now get paid. And I was looking more into this recently, and it's like was it Bijan Johnson, one of the running backs? He had a multi-million-dollar like sponsorship deals. Like you're allowed to use your name, image, likeness for commercial purposes. That's what NIL means. So you could now sign NIL contracts.
So you can be in the NCAA basketball game by EA Sports and make money.
Yeah, it started with the EA Sports lawsuit. Somebody was like, "Why am I on the cover of this game, and why am I a player?"
Yep, it makes a lot of sense. I'm glad that somebody's doing something. It's good.
Yeah, so there's a little bit. There's going to be some students getting paid, star athletes.
Yep.
So they could be hanging around downtown too.
Yeah, good. There are a lot of I'll use the term influencers and famous people.
Yeah.
In the area, they just I think it's always been a culture of nobody really cares here. Like it's like, all right, cool, that's great, good for you. Are you a good person?
Yeah, it's interesting the creative stuff that's starting to fly around a growing city.
All right, next project. What are we at?
I don't have a project exactly. There is a part of town that I want to talk about that I feel like has been dormant forever. And yeah, let me see if I can share my screen here with you guys. 1 second.
Now, dormant in that you think it's going to have a boom, or there was a bust and you don't know when it'll boom? Or
Yeah, in the sense that I'll talk about it here in a second, but basically that it's kind of feels like it's in the middle of nowhere, and there's been actually quite a bit development around it. And every time there's a new project in that area, people are like, "Now this is it. This area is going to take off," and it doesn't. So let me share Del Valley.
Oh.
Yeah. So, for those of y'all joining us that don't know Austin, Del Valley is located on the southeast side of Austin, just past the airport. It shows the airport, but it's not. It's like further down here. And I'm honestly not in this area a whole bunch, so like I don't know the exact coordinates, but kind of the southeast pocket where you could see that there is a lot of green and a lot of land. Do you guys remember? I want to say it was 2013 or 2014 when the Formula One track opened.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I remember hearing like, "Oh wow, this is it for Del Valley," because there was nothing there except little residential houses.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, this is going to be a huge tourist attraction. There's going to be people coming from all over the world. There's going to be a bunch of hotels. There's going to be all this stuff to do, and home values are going to skyrocket, et cetera, et cetera. And I feel like that did not happen. There was a Formula One track that went up, and that was very interesting. And it's still, I mean, it still gets a decent amount of attention. But as far as actual development, we're just seeing a lot of residential construction. What are the neighborhoods over there? Like Hornsby Bend, and then the Prado neighborhood, which was a D.R. Horton development. That was really popular simply because they were new construction homes and they were still very affordable, even during COVID, or even, during 21 and 22, where everything was so expensive. These homes were kind of like in the high 300 range to like low 400, and that was still considered affordable for Austin. But if you actually like drive through here, where'd my screen go? Here it is. But yeah, if you drive through, there's not like an HEB. It doesn't have like a central grocery store that you can just hop over to. There's no like Walgreens.
Are they building an HEB in Del Valley?
I don't know. Are they?
Hold on, I'm looking.
Me too. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, they're pushed to build one. That was November of last year.
Yeah.
I'm not going to read this whole article right now, but I mean, I don't think so. And then
I'd like to see these celebrity lookalikes.
Yeah. And the other thing, so we have the Formula One track, and then it's the Gigafactory. So when that was announced, again, everybody was tweaking out. They were like, "Oh my God, this is it. Now the southeast part of town is gonna." Yeah, they were like, "Oh my God, it's gonna explode. There's gonna be all this expansion. It's gonna change."
The thing.
Yeah.
The thing about that is, I just drove by there again, and they've already added more. They added more across. So they added a whole section across 130, and then on the main Gigafactory building, they've extended that by, I don't know, a few hundred feet. And so that's still expanding. It's still growing. All those people have to live somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Where are they living?
I think a lot of them are living in like Pflugerville and Round Rock. Personally, my clients that have come to Austin to work at the Gigafactory, a lot of them have kids. So they want to be less than 30 minutes to the office, to the factory, and then they want to be in a decent school district. One client that I have went to Dripping Springs, but that's because he's kind of mobile with Tesla. But that's like, aside from that, the consensus has kind of been like parts of Pflugerville that have highly rated schools. And then if they're single and have the extra income, a lot of times I'll see that they'll get like a cute little bungalow type home in the Mueller area as well.
Hey, does that Tesla ceiling really have solar? I saw a picture.
What are you talking about?
There's a Tesla plant aerial picture, and the architectural rendering had solar at the top.
I doubt it. I highly doubt that.
Maybe a little bit.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, these could like power the city so much.
I was like, is it a
Why do
big
y'all
solar
doubt that?
cell?
Huh?
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, Ian, you're right. These people like need somewhere to live, but Del Valley ain't it. The school ratings there are pretty subpar. And if it is actually a young family moving there, they're not going to want to send their kids to school. And I've had a couple clients reach out, get excited, like, oh my God, houses are so cheap here and you can get a new house. But then they look at the school ratings and then immediately they're like, no, we'll go elsewhere. So that's my thought. But there's so much land and so much space here. I feel like there is so much potential and it's still relatively affordable compared to other parts of Austin. So I would love to see this area really developed.
I gotta share this.
Yeah.
I have a related Del Valley story too.
Ooh.
What is it? While I'm pulling this.
All right, I'm gonna do a screen share.
Oh, you're gonna share? Get out of here! Hold on. I gotta share,
Sharing mood today.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I was just gonna share the comments from our.
Oh yeah. Look at some
watcher.
comments and questions in, and then I could share after.
So I wasn't trying to be rude.
You weren't rude. You're never rude.
Oh, I thought you said I was being rude today. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, you're in a sharing mood.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yes, we're in a sharing mood. You're not being rude at all.
So this is obviously Dinosaur D. He is sharing some comments whenever they come up. Internet. My God, he's not wrong. I have no idea why my internet is being silly. You still don't see it, do you? Did you say AOL?
Dial up.
I have really nice internet. It's being ridiculous. It's like only when I need to use it does it do this.
I think your share is still on, Ian.
Can you see it?
It says I can't share because or it says someone else is currently sharing.
Yeah, it never actually came up. So basically, Dinosaur D says, let's hope this is better than your dial-up, something. When HEB builds, people will come. He's right about that.
Yeah.
HEB is greater than Coda, which is greater than anything else in Texas.
Yeah.
He's right about that. Coda is Circuit of the Americas. He says, so Dinosaur D was looking at our comment about the Tesla solar, the Tesla Gigafactory having solar. And he said, that's enough solar panels to charge employees' phones during the day. He's not worried about that.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. And then this I wanted to share, but Dinosaur D also says he doesn't know what he'll make fun of once my internet is working appropriately. So yes, they are working on filling it, and it will be the world's largest once complete. That's kind of important because you can't have an energy company that doesn't do things like this. And this goes back to the innovation that's coming to Texas, whether people like it or not. Because you have to have engineers, you have to have people manufacturing, you have to have all these things as industries for an area to grow. And Texas is supposed to overtake California as the leading economy, I believe is what it is.
Hey.
So, I mean, listen, everything is speculation until we actually see things happen. But that's important stuff, right? We have so many industry types. So medical, you just saw the cancer treatment center. We've got energy, and that's a big thing for the next, probably decade or three. Manufacturing for automotive and shipping and logistics and farm, because we've still got A&M. Like, we just have so much. It's great. And tech. Even if tech leaves, some of it's coming back. I don't know. I get excited.
Did you say, I'm going to say this because
say it.
Why not? Oil.
So that's interesting because where is the oil coming from? Oil money.
Oil money. Yeah, because Houston and Dallas are the oil cities, to my knowledge.
Right. It's not Austin, but they're right there.
They are right there.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. We're in between it all, which is
Yeah.
also incredible. And then we even have space exploration. Come on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We have multiple rocket companies, like space exploration companies here. I mean, one's in like Cedar Park, one's in Jarrell, and then we have some nearby, right? But like just the fact that we have all of this, could we become the new Space Coast?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna share.
Oh,
I think we're getting into this tech scene.
I know I get too excited.
No. This is good. This made me think of something that I want to share as well. But
it's related.
See, shut up. Did you see the first payment? The first patient that had Neuralink is playing Counter-Strike with his mind.
Why did
He's
give him Counter-Strike?
playing a first-person shooter with his mind.
So let me read it out loud for the people just listening. Elon Musk plans Neuralink plant in Del Valley, which Daphne was just talking about. Billionaire adds to list of companies with footprints east of Austin. Neuralink filed to develop an office at 2200 Caldwell Lane in Del Valley. Company plans to start work on July 15th. Finish construction. This is a July 2024. Oh yeah, story. There's a map. The development is set to rise near Musk's Project Amazing, quote unquote, 110 home development with Lennar.
Get it?
Oh,
And
okay.
then here you go. With
That means it's all solar roofs. I wonder if it's also 3D printed.
Ooh, good point. I hope so.
I think this wasn't so accurate. Tesla built.
Oh, and then they're building the tunnel under the Giga Texas. The boring company is digging its tunnel to go under 130. I believe it's under 130.
Under 130 to where? To like the other side?
Yeah.
So Tesla has tunnels to Tesla.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oops. I was trying to click off that.
I'm gonna see your internet history.
Ooh.
It's all Elon. I'm just kidding. But it's
that's actually huge. I didn't hear about that, and I'm a digger. That's interesting.
Yeah, and there's like Bastrop stuff that I'm kind of curious too. With him.
Talk about that?
Interesting. Okay. Well, what else? What other developments that aren't Elon Musk developments?
Actually, I want to share one thing about Elon Musk real quick.
Do it.
He's here. We could talk about him.
We can just love hate him. What's this doing? Screen.
I will say he's still weird.
He's so weird. Well,
you know.
Okay, so I looked up Caldwell Lane, the stranger specific address. So that's where that is.
But that's right on the other side of the Gigafactory, right? It's just east of it. So when they bought the land, I think they bought a large chunk, and they just haven't developed it all. So their robots, the Tesla bot will come out of there, Neuralink will be out of there, cars, trucks, and then maybe batteries.
That's kind of far from there. I mean, it's not really far, but I would have thought it'd been a bit closer. Very good nonetheless. Yeah. Okay.
They had to have gotten a really good deal because that's like all floodplain. It's got to be.
Yeah. It's terrible. Okay. And then one more I'm going to share with you, and then I will. Oops.
I would imagine he's just kind of like making his own little Monopoly board square building stuff, like you land here type of stuff. There we go. That's the Bastrop one, right?
Yes. So this is Snailbrook. This is the Boring Company, and they are slated to have, I want to say, 110 residential homes, actual homes for the employees of Tesla to live in. So yeah, they've got like a pool, they've got a tennis court. They're going to turn, how do I get rid of this? They're going to turn apparently one of the homes into a Montessori school. Not sure how. Yeah. And then, so like here's the Boring Company or Snailbrook, and here's a Boring Company. This is the Starlink, I want to say. And this is 500,000 square feet of space for that. And here are some modular homes that people are already living in. I read somewhere too that he's charging rent, but it's super cheap. It's like $800 or something ridiculous.
For
I mean,
his employees.
Yes.
That was the Ford effect. Henry Ford did that.
You're right. Yeah, there's actually a couple big entrepreneurs that have done that in history.
They hook up their employees with housing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, this technically it's been done for.
Yeah, it hasn't been done in a long time, but it has been done effectively.
I gotta be careful how I skate that line. Technically it's been done for centuries. The only thing that's changed is how much people have been paid. But yes.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of things about it that are super weird because it's like, okay, cool, you can live and work there, but also it's like, because Elon is such an extremist, it's like, I wonder if you kind of have to buy into the cult mentality to live and work there.
Yeah, here's a question. You know how we've looked at developments that like kind of bubbled up and they like didn't do anything, like the Lagoon and Leander?
Yes.
Do you see this? I know it's hard to predict, but like it's fun to guess too. Do you think there's going to be a whole bunch of Elon developments that are going to grow and there's going to be like Montessori schools, or is it going to like fizzle because he's just too busy launching spaceships or whatever?
You were kind of a tangent, but I'll bring it back. I promise. I don't promise.
Do it.
Have you ever seen the show Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
The comedy?
The comedy, yeah, about police officers in New York. That was 10 years ago. Anyway, whenever I'm tired and I want to watch something and laugh, I watch that. And they were talking about Elon Musk, and I'm like, "Are you serious?"
Oh wow!
Yeah, I was like, "What is happening?" Or whenever it was out, like it's not current. But anyway, I bring that up because I do agree that sort of thing is happening. Because if you look at Apple, I think it was just done on a smaller scale, but Apple has had campuses.
Yeah.
Like that's a big thing. Microsoft has had campuses. Dell had a campus.
Yeah.
Right. I think that campus mentality can spill over into residential if people have the forward thinking.
I mean, that's how Round Rock was.
Yeah.
I felt like Round Rock was built off of a Dell campus.
They were.
I mean, in a way.
No, they were totally. It was just like a sleepy little suburb, and then Dell came in and it exploded.
This thing is interesting. If a staffer is fired or leaves, they would have to move within 30 days. What about the people that were let go, where there were like 20,000 people or 10,000 people that were let go, remember? Or 10%. Sorry, I got to be careful with my numbers. 10%. Remember that? That was not very long ago.
No, he keeps doing that. I have a client who used to work at HR for Tesla at the Gigafactory, and her job was just to fire people. And sometimes Elon would get a bee in his bonnet and just be like, get rid of a few hundred today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about why.
Yeah. You what?
I said we talked about why on the last episode, I think. Didn't we?
Did we?
I forget.
And I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I just remember the conversation that he had on one of his interviews was if you don't go through that process, there are a couple variables. One, it ends up being a much larger hit too late and the company can't recover. And two, you end up with too many employees that are stagnant and don't ever grow themselves or their careers or their lives. Again, that could be a scapegoat comment, but rationally, it makes sense that someone would need to continue moving forward, up lateral, whatever, to change their skill set.
It's actually really interesting. I don't disagree with that. I don't know, but it sounds, it's like you have to keep people hungry and you kind of keep them on their toes.
I got to share this, Mark just said, because he's not wrong. It's not going to share. It's not going to share. Whatever.
You can read it.
Anyway, anyway, so First Dinosaur D says Keystone Pipeline 2024. which is interesting. Back when we were talking about the oil, and then there's an Adele campus. Oh, Adele. I just got that. Oh my God. He typed this like, I don't know. It was a little bit ago. Mark
hilarious.
says, hey, Mark, I haven't seen you in a minute. Elon will make self-driving houses when you no longer work where your house moves off the company land. You know, the funny thing about that is the Cybertruck is a self-driving house in that you can put a camper on it or a tent on it, and it has bi-directional charging. Right? So it can charge your house as a generator, and then you just...
Wait, what's bi-directional charge? I don't get that.
So if the power goes out in your neighborhood and the car is plugged in, it'll then siphon the power from the vehicle.
How long can it power your house?
3 days is the estimation. Yeah. Now, is that going to be a realistic real-world number? It probably depends on if you have my kind of internet. Like what? How decent is your internet? Are you opening the fridge every day? Are you like what are you running? But the fact that it has that at all is huge, which is the same thing with the batteries. That's what power walls are, right? So they sit on your house. You've got the solar coming in. You got these backup batteries. And then if the power goes out, it draws from the batteries. Or late at night, it draws from the batteries. The cars are just batteries.
Literally.
That's it. It makes so much sense. And I don't think that... Look, hold on. What did he say? Ian will only get 1 day of power from the Cybertruck unless he turns off the lights for a shoe display. You know what? Yeah, you might be right.
Those look like very powerful neon lights back there.
Yeah. That's automated. It'll probably... Hey, go... No, I'm just kidding.
I think that's actually really interesting, though, because, like, let's say we have another snow apocalypse or whatever the heck it was called, and you have a Cybertruck, and you just turn it on for, like, 6 hours a day, just to heat up the house and, like, maybe take a shower or whatever, and then, like, you're done.
Yeah.
How much longer could it last? Could it actually last you a week? I'd be curious.
Well, I mean, people have had generators forever.
Right.
But then their gas gets old and there's just maintenance to it. And then there are a lot of people that don't have that or don't want to go outside in the middle of the freezing snow apocalypse and fill their generators if it's out of anything or run to the store. That was half the problem was people were like, I got to run somewhere. Couldn't get anywhere. Gas stations were empty. Yeah. All that goes away. And the products, so Starlink, I know I'm getting a little deep in this.
That's okay.
Starlink, the solar roofs all have heating mechanisms in them to help melt ice and snow so that it doesn't build up on top of the roof so that you're still able to get some kind of power. It's cool.
Very cool.
I have this fear. Okay, I look at like Austin used to be very stable with its college government stuff, right? And a little bit of Dell. And now we have this Tesla factory. And I get scared, like, because Detroit got taken down when the automobile industry went down. But I'm like, is it an automobile or is it like a tech company? Because tech is different from automobile.
I think a lot of people think that Tesla is a car company. And they do need to sell cars. But I think their profit from energy is higher. I believe it's higher. And then they also have the self-driving that they're working on. These cars drive really well. They might not be fully approved by the government, but they drive pretty darn well.
They do.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
So that's another source of revenue. And then it's the batteries. It's all these things. There are lots of variables in there. So And then it's the robots and the AI. Like the cars are driving themselves. That AI can be used for something. What? I don't know. Elon says that it's for the robots. I don't know.
One thing I wish Tesla would stop trying to dabble in, though, is maps. They should just get Google Maps on the cars and call it a day and just focus on everything else.
It is on the cars. It's on the Tesla cars. It's just an overlay. Yeah, just like Microsoft when they came out with Bing, all it was a rebranded Google search. That's it. Right? Same thing with the cars. The Tesla cars are Google Maps with a different software. Flipping anyway. Amazon. They've been doing that forever too. God, it kills me when people do that. Like, because that's all that's happening. They're like all of this stuff, all of our TVs, all of our cell phones, it's all the same stuff. And people just put like 3 tweaks on it and they're like, this is ours. That's all Samsung's ever done. Dinosaur D just said, oh, Mark said, no, Dinosaur D says, a Cybertruck that has 123 kilowatt hours of capacity, daily usage of electric in an all-electric house is about 66 kilowatts. So an all-electric house would get 2 days of power, theoretically, assuming that they're not kicking on extra heat and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Interesting.
So now imagine you've got this neighborhood, this is absolutely to JJ's point. You've got a neighborhood with Tesla solar roofs, battery backups, Tesla vehicles that employ leases, not owns. Don't like that part. They're leasing it, but at a discounted rate so that they can continue working for the company. Their life is invested in this company on a whim. Yet it will help Austin continue to grow. But I feel like these people might be expendable, especially because they don't own any of it.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that do to the culture of Austin? And it's not just Austin, it's wherever these types of things will be built. Not for me to say, but I would like it if people would consider this type of thing and then buy something for themselves. Buy close, but buy something for yourself.
Your own real estate investment.
Yeah. Technology is great, but, and I've always felt this way. If you put all of your stock into just one person or one thing, it's challenging when that one thing goes wrong. So it's a high risk, high reward in a lot of cases.
And that goes for the Oracle campus as well on Riverside.
Yes. Or Meta, the one you were just talking about. Right? Like they just left. Oracle said bye. Say it again.
What year did Meta leave?
I think it was this year. I don't have to.
It was within the past couple of years. It was like after the inflation started.
Yeah, it was either last year or this year.
22, 23.
I mean, that would make sense. It just, it's like literally anything. I feel like any new construction commercial space is vacant. And that was pretty evident really even late in 2019. So I live north and I'm by the Domain all the time. And I remember in 2019, they were about ready to be finished building these 2 commercial. They're not high rise, but they're also not mid rise. They're probably like 16 stories or so.
Yeah.
And
I think that counts as high.
What's that?
I think that counts as high.
High-ish. Yeah. But there's it doesn't matter. So they're big buildings.
Yeah.
Those are vacant. Those are super seriously vacant all the time.
Yeah, it's not just those. When I pull up these vacant office buildings, it's not just downtown stores like Domain.
It's everything. It's everything.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking when they were building those in 2018 or so, I used to go to Whole Foods a whole bunch, and I would get like their salad bar, and it would get really busy because there were people that already worked at the Domain that were going to go grab lunch at the Whole Foods at the Domain. And I remember saying out loud, like, crap, like when these buildings are occupied and there's going to be people working in them as like a 9-to-5 office, and then they come here for lunch, there's going to be lines out the doors. Well, that never happened. It still gets busy, but it's not, I don't think it's what they had hoped and projected.
So it looks like last year, actually it looks like almost 2 years ago now, Meta was going to occupy this building. They had a couple people move in, but they never did fill the building because it was still under construction. And so construction started and they never actually took over.
Crazy.
Moved in.
Here's an interesting story because now that we're talking about this, I saw this pop up on CNBC. I was at the bank and it was a real estate story. So following, let's say, cousin cities or whatnot,
like Nashville and Colorado or
San Fran,
Boulder.
Older sister, big brother, older cousin. So one of the real estate office veterans Greg Flynn is optimistic on San Francisco's office recovery. World's largest franchisee makes personal bet on San Francisco's office recovery.
Here's the thing about that area, San Francisco in general, California in general. You erase the politics. People love the weather. They love having access to water. And until it falls into the ocean, people will always live in California. The companies need to go where the talent is, right? And so as long as people want to live in California, the companies will want to consider that when they're making these decisions. Because a lot of people aren't going to move to flipping Ohio because they don't want to. I would never move to Ohio. And I'm from Chicago, right? Like I just would never do it because I dislike it. Right? It's just it's a quality of life thing. Now, if you have to, or your family's there, obviously that's a different situation. But if you have a choice where you're making a cognitive choice, even my camera. Listen, all the things.
You need a Cybertruck.
I have a Cybertruck.
Plug in your Tesla.
I have
a Cybertruck.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had a Cybertruck.
I picked it up last week. Or picked it up Thursday and then flew out.
Congratulations on the baby.
You need to pick us up.
Yeah, it's a baby. It has 300 miles. I picked it up at like 38 miles.
Wow. Do you love it?
And I left it. Well, of course I do.
I could see that.
But it's just a thing. It's just a thing. Like that's really important, right? I gotta keep. It's just a thing. But yeah, I like it. It's been my wallpaper on my phone and on my computer for like 4 years. So.
What color? Oh, they're all the same color.
Oh, it's getting wrapped so fast.
Ooh.
Oh, it's gonna be wrapped.
We could say that.
I was talking to. Do you know Kyle Whistle?
No.
He's a huge agent out in. It's not San Francisco, Orange County. Huge agent out in Orange County, and he's the only other like realtor that I know that. No, Matt Holm does it too. He has a Cybertruck. Matt Holm has a Cybertruck. Kyle Whistle, and then I'm sure there's a few others, but nobody like talks about it because they're
the only realtor that has one.
Not the only realtor that has one, but people don't talk about it because they're I don't know, they're afraid, or I don't know, it's divisive. Who knows?
I was like, challenge accepted. Give me a couple months.
I seriously have friends that were like, "You bought that piece of crap, dude? Can't you be happy for me? Seriously, what? Why?
Yeah.
Why are
Very
you
polarizing topic sometimes.
It shouldn't be. It's a car.
That's what I mean. It is a car.
Technology, honestly. Like, and I think just complete aside, but I feel like Tesla makes so much sense for realtors or anybody that drives a lot.
I probably drove 100 miles today before hopping on this podcast.
Yeah, I was all over the place today.
I was all over this morning.
Yeah.
So anyways, whatever.
Yep.
Let people whine. And I did. Thank you. I enjoy it. We should go for a ride. Let's go get lunch.
Yeah, pick us up.
Next week. Let's go hang out.
Pick us up. We're all north, right?
Yeah.
I have a charger at home if you want to plug in and charge before we head out.
It's charging now. That's probably why my internet sucks. I'm just kidding.
Hello.
Anyways, so
Cool.
Dinosaur D said, "Oh, thanks, Dinosaur D." He said, "Congrats." Thank you. Dinosaur D says, "Thing about, I'm going to use the term California, is people will put up with the politics until it hits their quality of life.
Yeah.
Then they'll move. People change when they get sick and tired of being sick and tired." He is not wrong about that. Yeah, a lot of people have a hard time when they can't control the outcome of their lives.
Yeah.
And they think that moving will change it.
Yeah.
Cool. It's 3:01.
All right.
Closing thoughts, JJ, Daphne?
I'm excited for Austin's growth. I see potential. I understand we're in a recalibration phase, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't keep your eyes and ears open. Mm-hmm. And you can see how we do that. So we'd be happy to talk to y'all. Reach out to your local real estate professionals.
Definitely. I'm really excited for you to come pick us up so we can grab lunch in your car.
I will, and I'll buy. Technically, okay, cool. Dinosaur D will be buying, and Mark. They've given us super chat, so we're going to spend that. And then, I think that right now we know the interest rates are getting ready to go up, so we'll probably have to talk about that sometime soon.
Up?
Or down. Wow,
I was like, really?
wow. So interest rates are going to come down. The question is, how does that affect our market? And do you think that based on who wins the election, that affects our real estate market here in Austin, not across the world? Not that I don't care, but like that's not the focus of this. The focus is what happens here when X or Y happens. So that can be a conversation, but at the very least, the interest rates are going to be a fun reaction once people realize that that's happening. I've had a lot of people willing to buy or list their homes kind of out of the blue. So I think that's a thing. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful one. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And we will see you in the next Real Estate Lab podcast. Peace.